Hi, Sandy. Sorry, I just turned the audio on. Okay, having just a small issue. I'm going to be working off my laptop today because this desktop does not want to connect. So, and this is the problem with it. My laptop goes dark after a certain amount of time. So, but I'm good right now. So we're going to get into it. Again, this is 19 at noon. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment box. I know we have some active weather that's going to be beginning even today. So probably a lot of folks have questions. I guess with that, I can kind of move around a little bit more than normal because I'm not tied to that computer. I'm still a little bit tied to this computer. Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Yes. Sometimes we start a little bit early just to allow people to get, if I started talking about really important stuff right away and you missed it, that's, we obviously want to avoid that. So, all right. Yes. So this is kind of like our remote version that I have my laptop right now, and it's a little bit clunky, but I think it's going to be fine. And you should not know any difference because what's behind me is going to look perfect. So we're not worried about that. But yes, okay, so we are talking about the potential for some flooding, the potential for some stronger thunderstorms. We've seen a little bit of change in the current weather outside right now very recently as the sun is coming out. That's going to impact our storm chances too. So we're going to kind of dive on into it. Outside right now, as I mentioned, well, I'll show you the cameras here coming up in just a bit. We are seeing sunshine. It's dry. But I am going to be talking about storms for later today. Okay, so flood watch. I've started on this because the National Weather Service has issued a flood watch for most of the viewing area, Fayette and Union County not included in it. So just here in southeastern Indiana, it's the only spot that's not in it right now. But this will start now. It started at noon and it goes until tomorrow evening. And so the National Weather Service saying during that time, we could have the threat for some flooding across parts of the area. So heavy rain on the way for today and tomorrow, along with the chance for some thunderstorms too. So yeah, let me make sure that this is working. Okay. So what we're seeing outside right now is those clouds are starting to thin. And actually I don't need that anymore. We saw a few of those sprinkles earlier today. I think most of us actually did stay dry. And even if you did see any rain, again, it was mostly just sprinkles. But what we're seeing, and let me kind of see, this is where it helps to be on a real computer because I want to zoom this out. And it's a lot harder to do. Here we go. On the laptop. Okay, there we go. Like I said, a little clunky, but it's still okay. So we're seeing some showers and thunderstorms off to our west right now, especially across parts of southern Illinois, Missouri, under watches and warnings right now too. And I used to work in this area in southern Illinois, southeastern Missouri, and western Kentucky. And along I-64, which basically takes you from Louisville, well, really, it goes all the way to West Virginia and beyond. But anyways, if you're going in this area to St. Louis, perhaps that's one way that you can go. You get to 64 in Louisville or even Lexington, and then you head west. So along I-64 here in southern Illinois, they had to shut it down because of flooding earlier today. Now, I don't think that necessarily that's exactly what we're going to encounter as well. But what I do think is possible is what's happening here, especially in southern Illinois and southern Missouri. This rain, I mean, if you watch, say this one area and watch it over the past, what is this, a 3-hour loop? It has not stopped raining in that area that entire time and even before that. So what we could see is that for hours on end, we see rain in the same location. Now, I don't think that this is exactly what our radar is going to look like once these storms move into our area, but it just goes to show that the environment is primed for that. It's warm, it's humid, there's a lot of moisture. This is going to be easy to see some of this flooding and some of these thunderstorms too. If we look at what's happening outside right now, lots of sunshine. And earlier today, even in the last hour to 90 minutes, it was overcast. So now we're seeing that sun come out. It's going to not only warm us up, it's going to also allow some more energy for the storms that do roll through later this afternoon. And we're not going to see any storms around here until probably as early as 4 to 5 p.m., but continuing even beyond that time frame as well. So temperatures right now, these are the noon temperatures, 82 at CVG and in Falmouth, 83 at Lunken, 81 in Lebanon and Wilmington. Let me see if I have the Dew points here. Let's talk about the dew points because there's no heat advisory for us today like we had yesterday because the humidity won't be quite as bad. It's still going to be a hot day though. So dew points right now in the 60s, Lebanon and Batesville are in the 70s, which is not surprising. We talked about that a lot. The vegetation there really supports more humidity in the air. But either way, it is still humid. Let's look at the heat index. See, and it's a lot harder to see this on my laptop too. Yeah. So not much of a heat index, and that's been the case all day today, but it still does feel a little bit warmer. It feels like 87 in Batavia. It feels like 85 at Lunken and in Falmouth. So those are the dew points right now, or the heat index right now. I want to show you, we've had some gusty winds today as well. Right now, not so bad. So we've seen some improvement in that respect. Although on a day like today, you actually kind of want a bit of a breeze. It does make it feel a lot better. I want to show you the convective outlook. I think I must have taken that out of this show because of time. So we're going to pop that back up because we don't have time constraints as much on this show. Where is it? Take a drink. So this is now through tomorrow morning, and they actually have not changed this, but I do want to widen it just so that you can see where the threat is today in general. So I actually have a pretty high threat, an enhanced threat for severe storms across parts of upstate New York and parts of the New England states, and then the slight risk is just east of us and just west of us. So interestingly enough, kind of here in the tri-state, we're between the two slight risks. Of course, Storm Prediction Center could update this and kind of move this a little bit further to the east, move this one a little bit further to the west. That's definitely possible, but as of now, we just have a marginal threat for severe storms. So let me zoom in on it. Yeah, I mean, obviously the same for everybody. Everybody in that marginal threat, it's a 1 on a scale of 1 to 5. Storm Prediction Center says our greatest threat in those storms is going to be for damaging winds. Let me pull it up here. They have nothing, no tornado. We don't expect rotation in these storms, so no tornado threat. The wind threat is a 5% and no hail threat, at least for us here. So basically what that tells us is that we have the chance that any of the storms that do pop up could be strong to severe this evening through tomorrow morning, with damaging winds being the main threat. Kind of reading their discussion to get a little bit more detail. And then I also want to see, okay. Yeah, okay. And then let's look at the hourly forecast for the storm chances. Here it is. I'm going to show you a couple of different models. Yeah, National Weather Service concerned about that heavy rain for sure. So start to see the storms pop up 4 or 5 p.m. today. Oh, let me read this. Hello, Becky. Hi, Cody. Will there be hail with these storms like yesterday? No, we do not. However, I will say there could be very small hail. We talk about pea-sized hail, but not big enough for a severe storm. So if there is hail, it would be small and it would not be damaging hail, just kind of more to show just the dynamics of the storm than anything. Okay, so rain continues off and on throughout tomorrow morning and into the afternoon hours. By about 7 p.m., we finally see that rain move out of here, and then much drier air behind it as well. Now, let's look at a different model. And this model, I believe, is going to kind of overdo the storm chances. Yes, so this is 6 p.m., starting to see those storms move closer and closer toward the area. A few of those storms, and really here's the thing, any one of these storms that do pop up later this evening do have the potential to be strong to severe. We see a little bit of a lull in the action late tonight, but then by tomorrow morning, storms already starting to pop back up, continuing through tomorrow morning, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Pockets of very heavy rain into the afternoon, the same story. So here's the deal. While it's not a total washout, it's not raining that entire time from now until tomorrow evening, any of the rain that we do get could be very heavy, and it could lead to some of those severe storms as well as flooding, especially the flooding. That's going to be the biggest threat that we have. This is actually the cold front that moves through. So you see here at 5 p.m. tomorrow, we're starting to see that line of storms. It's kind of a broken line, but nonetheless a line of storms. Then finally, by 9, 10 p.m., that cold front moves through and does dry us out and cool us down to a big drop in temperatures by tomorrow. Okay, let's look at. I'm falling behind on the. Okay. Yeah, so zero tornado threat, no rotation in these storms. Main threat with these storms in a couple of days, wind and heavy rain. Absolutely. Mandy said that. Yes, Mandy, you are correct. Let me show you the rainfall totals. And we can actually look at a couple of the different models in that too. So this is, I think, the European model, showing 1 to 2 inches across the area. Now, most of this is going to be tomorrow, but there is a chance that some of those storms later today could be strong or could have some heavy rain with them as well. Let me take this to tomorrow evening once we know the rain is going to be over, and we'll look at the different totals for the different. Yeah, so that's the European, 1 to 2 inches, higher amounts further to the north. If we look at the GFS, it's going to be very different. You're looking at 1 inch or less according to the GFS model, which is our American model. This is the North American model, showing very similar to the GFS, so less than 1 inch of rain. And then this is our in-house model, and that's why it goes out to the hundreds, because it's more of a high resolution model, also showing less than 1 inch. So the only one that's showing 1 to 2 inches is the European model, or more than 1 inch. So hard to say that we have high confidence in this storm when the rainfall totals are so vastly different depending upon which model you look at. So what that kind of tells us is that while we do have the chance in any of those thunderstorms for those storms to be very strong, to have a lot of very heavy rain, it doesn't look like those storms do train, which is what I was talking about in southern Illinois, where they stay over the same area over and over again. What we think is going to happen with the storms that we get tomorrow and tonight is that they move through pretty quickly. So while they could have very heavy rain, it doesn't last very long, so the totals are a lot lower. So that's what we would expect. Actually, let me do this. Let's not save it. Okay. Now we're going to look at the 7-day forecast. Thanks, John. Okay. So today, I still think we hit the 90s, especially now that we've seen that sunshine come out. It's not going to be hard to make it to the 90s this afternoon. Much cooler tomorrow, but it's still a little humid. We're still going to have a lot of moisture in the air, so it's still going to be humid tomorrow, even though the temperatures are kept into the low 80s. But by Thursday, you're talking about cooler and drier air, very comfortable conditions on Thursday with a high near 80. And then the overnight lows even dip into the 50s and low 60s there for the end of the week and into the weekend. Just kind of much more refreshing, comfortable air to start the days especially, and then climbing into the mid to upper 80s this weekend. So getting warmer for both Saturday and Sunday. No tornadoes, some gusty winds definitely possible, Jeff. We could have some strong gusty winds today and tomorrow within any of those thunderstorms, and heavy rain, obviously a really big problem too. Okay. I wanted to show, I love this one model that kind of shows the storms as they move closer toward the area. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so that's obviously what's happening out there right now across Illinois and Missouri. And then that all kind of dives off to the south, but then we see the storms start to move back into our area, especially tomorrow morning, and then off and on, because that system kind of, you see this counterclockwise spin around it. Let me kind of take you back a little bit. Watch how it starts to spin counterclockwise right over top of us. So that would be tomorrow morning, and that could bring us a complex of storms too that could be rather strong. And then finally, once we get into tomorrow evening, the front moves through and we finally dry out. So I think the key takeaway here is that any kind of thunderstorms today through tomorrow could be strong. We could have some very gusty winds and some very heavy rain, but it's brief. It's not one of these situations like what's happening further off to the west where it just keeps going and going over the same area. I don't think that that's going to happen. But what you will notice is that when it is storming, very strong gusty winds, very heavy rain, and a lot of lightning. There's been so much lightning in these storms out west. And especially now that we're seeing the sunshine emerge across the area, that's definitely going to help to fuel some of these storms. As a matter of fact, let's take a look outside again. No, today is a great swimming pool day, to one of my biggest fans, Allison. Big fan of yours too. I was actually just talking about you because Max Montoya is getting his own bobblehead, which is awesome. I was talking about that yesterday. Anyways, no, today's a good pool day. It's going to be hot. It's going to be pretty uncomfortable, that's for sure. But today's a much better pool day than tomorrow. And then it gets kind of cool, not chilly, but cool for going to the swimming pool. So, but yes, no, I would definitely go to the pool today. I mean, it's beautiful outside. Sunscreen. I went to the Reds game Sunday, did not wear sunscreen. And like immediately I was like, where's the sunscreen? My idea, and if anybody's been to Holiday World, which is in Indiana, it's actually in Santa Claus, Indiana, hence why it's called Holiday World. They have free sunscreen. They have free sunscreen, free soda, free parking. It's like in their commercial. And the free sunscreen is a brilliant idea. More places need to do that. I know at the Cincinnati Open, whatever it's called now, it's not Western Southern Open anymore, but whatever it's called now, they have sunscreen and it's from a robot. Like the robot doesn't like actually put sunscreen on you, but it gives you the sunscreen. It's a brilliant idea because here's the deal. More people that wear sunscreen, the better our health is overall. So I'm all for the free sunscreen. Okay. So, okay, let's look at the rainfall forecast for today and tomorrow. We'll just look at both of them. Okay. Okay. It'll pop up, I promise. Okay, so today, the next chance for any kind of thunderstorms is going to be around 4 to 5 p.m., and even then it's few and far between. Another round of storms popping up, kind of possible 7 p.m., 8 p.m., so just before sunset. Those all kind of fade away. And then tomorrow morning, you're looking at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. Storms are popping up again, and it's just very off and on throughout the day tomorrow as that cold front continues to move through. Around midday, we could have even more widespread rain. And then by, say, 7 p.m., that front starts to slide off to the south, and it takes the rain with it. So, in other words, today you're looking at maybe 5 to 8 p.m. We have a chance for some of those storms popping up. Tomorrow, it's anywhere from 4 a.m. to about 7 p.m., just off and on during that time. Plenty of dry time in between those storms. It's not going to rain the entire day, but that's kind of the threat window. And again, the flood watch remains in effect from now all the way through tomorrow evening because we could have some heavy rain during that time. So tonight, everybody has a chance to see those storms because there's actually two different, remember when I showed you the Storm Prediction Center, how they had the stronger threat to our east and a stronger threat to our west? So here in the middle, we're actually going to see the tail end of both of those. So we're going to be kind of on the eastern edge of the system to our west and on the western edge of the system to our east. And so everybody has the chance for those storms to pop up later today. And then heavier rain will be possible north of the region tomorrow. So that's going to be the greater threat. I just want to show that flood watch again, and then show you, here we go, that it goes until 7 p.m. Now, I do think that in Indiana, it expires before that. No, they're both 7 p.m. Might be further west than that. Yeah, so that flood watch goes until tomorrow at 7 p.m. No heat advisory today, but it's still hot. It's still humid. It just doesn't meet the advisory criteria. Not here anyways. I'm excited for the cool down, Anna, for sure. Yes, Rachel. Earliest chance would be 5 o'clock tonight. Okay, I think that's all I have for you. But I will be back on the air at 3 and 4. Chief Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer at 5 and 6, and then his streaming show at 7:15. He'll be able to go into even more details about the potential threat for not only severe weather, but flooding as well. So hopefully you can tune in to one or both of those. But yeah, I'm going to go get ready for the 3 o'clock show. And kind of fine tune this forecast because it is a little bit of a tricky forecast. So thank you everybody for joining me and asking your questions. I always appreciate it. And we'll have much more for you coming up on Fox 19 Now at 3 o'clock.